Hello, team. Welcome to another episode of Coffee, Cleans, and Calorie Deficits. My name's Jordan. I am the head coach, the only coach of Maximum Effort Fitness. And today, all this week, we're going to be talking about habits and how they relate to your gym performance. And if my eyes are chopping and changing, it's just because I'm recording it on two different screens to make editing a lot easier. And any pauses that either be searching for profound words of wisdom or taking a sip of tea, because having more than 3 coffees in a day is too much for me because I'm old. Today we're going to be talking about fat loss habits. So when we talk about habits, what we're speaking about are behaviours that are ingrained, that are automatic, so you do them without thinking, and that are not related to your mental sense of outcome. So they're insensitive to outcome, which is a fancy way of saying that if you suddenly change your mind about something and it's habitual, it doesn't matter because that part of you doesn't care. It cares more about what you've done before, building it up. And we're going to talk about how we adhere to the principles of fat loss, because that's the important thing, is there's rules to the there's rules to how to lose body fat. You have to be in a calorie deficit, which is simply that we're taking in less calories than we expend, whether that's through, eating less, just general living, walking, training, etc. And we can manipulate those variables over a week, a month, a couple months to see different results. So it means that you don't have to be in a same calorie deficit all the time. You can change it up. But we're not here to talk about tracking calories. What we're here to talk about are the things surrounding being mindful of your caloric intake and what you can do without using MyFitnessPal, not only to improve your nutrition, but this will also improve your relationship with food to an extent as well, because you'll understand it better. And the first thing we're going to talk about is hunger signals. So hunger signals is exactly what it sounds like. It is the brain in your stomach sending a signal to the brain in your head saying that we are full, or that you have met the conditions for us not wanting food anymore. Now, what those conditions are is that your stomach is like a physical vessel. It fills up. But it's also looking for things. It wants things. It's got wants and needs. It wants a partner who cares for it, a partner who feeds it the right stuff. And I feel I'm getting a little bit weird with this, so I'm going to stop. What you need in your stomach is different textures, different tastes, and then volume. So volume fills it up. It passes a little marker in your stomach brain and it says, we're full, stop feeding us, we're all good. Now, that can come from high calorie foods or low calorie foods. If we use low calorie, high volume, so that just means they're low in calories, but there's a lot of them. So we're thinking fruits, veggies, usually proteins as well. These things fill you up more than carbohydrates or fats, relatively speaking. There's a hierarchy. We don't need to get into it, but that's what you need to know. Fruits and veggies and proteins are your friends when it comes to dieting. The reason being that you get lots of different tastes and textures. You fill up more because it's the idea that if you have Smarties versus bricks and you have to fill up a litre bottle, how many Smarties are you going to get into a litre bottle versus how many bricks are you going to get into a litre bottle? You're going to get more Smarties, and those Smarties are the high calorie, low volume foods like cake. But your brick is things like, chicken breasts, lean steak, potatoes, rices, couscous. I fucking love couscous. And these things are going to be better for you to feel fuller because you're just kind of tricking your brain in that way. What you're trying to do, and what I have found through reading, is a nice little scale of 1 to 10. 10 is that you are full. If you eat any more, you're going to be over full. You're going to fall into that food coma where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to explode. 10 is just, I'm full and no more. What we would equate that to is that you've eaten enough to maintain your body weight in calories. Now, if we go to just less than full, we say you're like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Then we get to the good stuff. So that's when we're just less than full. So we've eaten lots of fruits, veggies, lean proteins. We've minimised our high-calorie carbohydrates and fats. And we are now in a calorie deficit without even thinking about it. Because those two go hand in hand. If you're eating mostly non-processed foods, lots of protein, I keep saying it, but it's because it's true, and you feel a little less than full at most meals, most of the time, you're in a deficit. That's just a fact. You're always going to be a little bit hungry when you're on a deficit, but you can manage that depending on how much weight you've got to lose and depending on sleep and these other variables that it's too deep to dive into in one podcast. And I want to move on to the next one, which is called the chew method. Now, I don't actually know what it's called, but it links to your hunger signals. And it's just a method for being very present and aware of what your food tastes like, the texture of it, and the fact that you're actually eating. It's being mindful. Have you ever done this where you are having a conversation or you're watching TV and maybe you're eating something really tasty like pizza? Because I always do it with pizza. And you're just eating, talking. You go for another slice. Fuck, there's no pizza left. You weren't mindful of it. You don't feel like you've eaten a lot of pizza. Oh, but now you're starting to think about it. Oh yeah, because it's really cheesy and this. And oh, suddenly I feel full. Because your brain, that is in your stomach and in your head, takes about 20 minutes to register food going in. So what we do during meals is we slow them down. We become focused on the food, not on outside distractions like conversation, TV. And these are hard, by the way. This isn't easy and you won't do it all at once, but you can start with just one meal. And here's what you do. So here's the chew method. You're going to take 10 to 20 chews per bite of food. Now, I know that seems like a lot. So if that seems like too much, do 5 to 10. And then you build it up. But you're working towards, honestly, you're working towards 20 to 30 chews. But I think that the 10 to 20 is a nice average to start with. You're going to take 10 to 20 minutes per meal. And again, if that's too hard, start with 5 minutes per meal. The important thing is that you're building up to this pie in the sky goal of around 30 chews per bite of food and around 20 minutes per meal to allow your body to absorb, acknowledge, and send signals back to your brain to say, we're full. Now, it can be really difficult when you come from, whether it's a culture, familial, or a big country, wouldn't it? My partner, Natasha, like, in the Hispanic culture, meals are a big thing, right? And they're like a really big social thing, and you come together and you have a lot of food and you chat, and it sounds amazing, especially coming from somebody who just takes their food up to the computer and watches Batman. But the problem with it is that you don't acknowledge the food. Now, this is just one very small variable in a lot of different variables that lead to people being overweight or having more weight in their body than they want. But slowing down and becoming aware of your food, minimizing conversations, minimizing distractions through TV, social media, your phone, etc., is a really good way to start. So I'm just going to reiterate that. You're going to go for, on average, 10 to 20 chews per bite of food. You're going to try and eat that meal between 10 and 20 minutes, ideally closer to 20. And you're going to avoid distractions through TV, other conversations, being on your phone whilst you're eating. If you want to have a conversation, you want to watch something, put your cutlery down, focus on that, give that your attention. All right, the last one, and I think this is one for me who is currently not tracking calories, but is doing rather well on his fat loss phase. Keep high calorie snacks out of your house. If it's not there, you can't grab it. Everybody's going to have weak moments and cravings, and if you make it more difficult to get that food in, it's going to make your life easier. So if you don't have snacks in the house, it just makes your life easier. You have to, put your shoes on, put clothes on. If you kick about naked around the house like me, well, I wear a house coat, but mostly naked. You have to get dressed, and you need to go down to shops, and you need to interact with people, and God, I don't want to talk to that cashier because he talks so much shit. I just want my fucking malams. You suddenly think that it's not such an attractive idea to go to the shops. And that's my main point for today, is that we want to be focusing on those 3 habits, being consistent with them over time, and hopefully, preferably, getting better at them over time. Maybe you start with 10 chews per bite, you start with 5 minutes per meal, you don't always avoid distractions during meals, but you try it one at a time. And that's the thing I would say about this is, and I'll talk about this later on in the week, you have to start simple with something achievable. Even if it doesn't feel like it's doing a lot now, in 3 weeks it's going to be doing a lot. So if you can only do those 3 principles, those 3 habits in one meal, and you're like, well, what's the point? Well, the point is down the line you're going to be able to do it for all your meals, and that's when your deficit will start. And I want to end that on that note, that we really need to consider that we may not get results right away, and that we have to build up to those results. And that is key today, folks. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I really enjoyed talking about it. If you want to hear more, you can always follow me on Instagram. It's at Jordan Fleming Fitness. And that's Jordan with an A, Fleming with one M, and fitness as it sounds. I'll put all the links down to my emails, which I write 3 times a week, sometimes more if I'm feeling particularly evocative. And my website in the show links, I guess. Yeah, show notes. I'll leave them down there. Thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a wonderful Monday, or wherever I release this, it'll probably be Monday. And yeah, have a great week. Hey folks, Jordan here. I just want to let you know about our free 30-day challenge starting on the 26th of April, running to the 26th of May. So it is a habit building challenge, and it's designed to help you when you return back to the gym to see a real change in your nutritional habits, your training habits, and to set you up for the rest of the year. If you want to know more, just click the link in my bio or in the YouTube comments page and let me know if you want to get involved. Take it easy.